evening. I'd like to start with welcoming everybody tonight. I called this meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. and we'll start with a roll call beginning to my right.
Miller here.
Thatcher here.
Morris here.
Parrish here.
Hollowell here.
Let the record reflect that a quorum of council is present. If you would all please rise for the invocation and the pledge. Pastor Keith Chastain, did I get that right?
You got it right.
Okay.
Good to see y'all again. Thank you for having me back. We can bow our heads. Almighty God, we give you thanks today, Lord. I praise you for all your mighty works, for your love, for your goodness, for your kindness, for your graciousness that we don't deserve, Lord. We acknowledge that you made us in your image, Lord, to exist in community and with other people, and that means being around other people, and that means being messy. We realize that, Lord. But I thank you, Father, for those of us who call this city of Winnsboro our home. We thank you, Father, for our elected officials, the businesses, the churches, the families, the individuals that make this a great place to live. Lord, we acknowledge we don't deserve the good gifts, Father, that you bountifully bestow upon us, Lord, and we're not worthy of your favor, Lord. We realize that we've sinned against you in thought and word and in deed, but we appeal to you today that you would forgive us our sin, with our hearts obedient to you, Lord. As Easter Sunday has been a refreshing weekend that we just passed, Lord, I can't go without expressing again my hope in a risen Savior. Lord, I pray over Winnsboro today, Lord. I pray that it would be a city of righteousness, a city that would confess Jesus as Lord, a city of peace, a city of hope, a city of joy, Lord, a place that would have peace and hope within it, Lord, and that would welcome the stranger, Lord, a place that would care for needy, and a place that would defend the innocent from evildoers. I pray over this council meeting today. The council members, let praise be given guidance and wisdom as they respectfully listen and deliberate on the items before them today. May every decision be righteous in your sight for our benefit, Father, and for your glory. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen.
Amen.
God, if we could do the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, if we could do the Texas flag also.
On honor of the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to make a couple of changes to the order in which the agenda. Prior to the start of this meeting, I signed an abstain affidavit and will be turning over the meeting to the Mayor Pro Tem Parrish, Mr. Randy, for the following agenda items: 8.6, 8.7, 8.8, and 8.9. So, Randy, if you could carry on for those.
All right, due to time constraints and our attorney having to leave by 6:40, we're going to move items 8.6, 8.7, 8.8, and 8.9 to the top of the agenda. We'll first call item 8.6, citizen request be placed on the agenda. Shannon Gail Willis presentation on 402nd Judicial District Court hearings.
I had spine surgery a couple of months ago, so I may stumble over my words. And I will ask that the city manager pass out. I was suggested by a city council member to give you all something to take notes with. So the first topic is on the front page. The second topic.
Before you start, would you state your name and address for the record?
Sure. Shannon Gail Willis, Post Office Box 752, Winnsboro, Texas 75494. The second, you hand out something, you lose people's attention, but my point of this is for you to keep track of the answers so you have information. So if you would not read it right now.
Sorry, I'm going to read it, so go ahead. I can listen and read.
That's okay. The 402nd District Court, J. Brad Campbell presiding, is handling a case filed by a group of litigants versus Texas Sigma Partners. I'd like to do a brief background. I am a litigant, and the attorneys are Greg Porter and David Dobbs with Porter, Dobbs, and Tyler, and Ted Lyons out of Mesquite. My daddy would be 100 years old this year. He taught me to be a strong Christian. If you have a problem with someone, go to them directly. In October 26th, 2021, I believe, I got a call from someone as Tex and I were rounding up autumn trails. It was a busy month, about the plume of smoke coming from the plant. I said, take it to the city. At that time, I texted the mayor, and I said, this is going to be an issue, let's talk. And by December, they formed a committee. It was getting worse. I was covering it for Trails Country Reporter. I got sick, and they hired attorneys in February. The plant was still going. And April 11th, a year ago today, I had covered it that night. And at midnight, I woke up, and I could not breathe. My daughter's a paramedic. I had moved to the bedroom. I was coughing so bad. And I had an SVT episode where I couldn't control my heart rate. And my daughter was trying to keep me from having a heart attack. I went by ambulance to the hospital. I was very sick for 5 months. I even came to a city council meeting, could barely talk. If y'all remember that, some of y'all thought I had COVID. I didn't. I lost my voice. So once I became a litigant, I was bridled. I didn't talk. I didn't come to city council meetings. I was done. Frankly, I am done. I'm working full time, and I've been very quiet. Haven't been coming to city council meetings. I figured y'all would fix it. I really don't want to be here tonight. I had my spine reconstructed a couple of months ago. I want to do three takeaways on these topics. In the hearings, which we provided the transcripts to a couple of city council members, and it's available upon request from me, just like I get documents from you guys. And these nice gentlemen here have copies of the transcript too. They have a plant that they want to operate in Winnsboro. And none of the citizens would have a complaint if they operated it within the confines of their property, their little long boat. No odors, no stench, no smoke going to their property. So there was an injunction granted last May of 2022, and they stopped. And they've been working feverishly to get the plant back online with the right equipment after numerous violations from the TCEQ that said you're emitting too many particles, too much stuff, and it's not within the confines. At one point, the city sent a code inspector or some officer out there to inspect, and they were declined access to the property. That's on the record in their minutes. And so we clocked along last year, and in November they were given permission to start firing up the test to see what's coming out. And none of the litigants have a problem with. They're going to work fine within the boundaries of their permit by rule by the TCEQ and city law. One doesn't omit the other. The TCEQ has not shut down a plant in 20 years. The city laws are not governed by the TCEQ.
Can I say one thing there?
Yes, sir.
Our ordinance is specifically affecting noise and odor from this type of facility. It's an express within the ordinance defense if they meet their state health requirements. In other words, if they're within their permit, then they're not in violation of our ordinance.
And it was proven by the notice of enforcement order, the NOE, that on their PBR they violated that. So then the evidence came in.
And we wrote a bunch of tickets and prosecuted those tickets,
That's
and they
good.
paid fines under those tickets.
And we're glad they did. So they're working on now trying to fix the plant, and we had the hearing in February and March. The paid environmental expert, Gail Kirkland, at Sphere 3, is contracted by them to write the PBR TCEQ permit. She was cornered in the hearing under oath that she would not live next to the plant with her family and herself. That was one of the biggest things that came out of that hearing in this transcript, which I can give a copy to you if you would like that. So, the first one is yes, she said that under oath, and you want to check that, keep up with what we're doing, because I need you to keep up with it, so when we will ask you something. Sigma's paid contract environmental expert admitted in writing that the application had mistakes on it. Okay. The third thing is they asked for a 45-day window. The reason we're updating you now is because in the March meeting, the mayor sat through 2 days of hearings and did not update the council. All I want to do is bring you information so you're informed. They're going to be allowed to get up to operational capacity at 100%, which is reasonable and fair. But they want to hire, the judge ordered hiring an independent third party to be the watchdog, the monitor, every day on site for 45 days. Well, trying to find someone to come up here to little Winnsboro for 45 days and monitor a plant has been a little difficult. So they were going to start April 5th. Now I understand it's going to be April 17th. Is that right, Ryan? Around that date? Yeah. And they're going to be given 45 days to get it up to operations and to do what's called a stack test. At that point, Judge McCampbell wants the result of the stack test, and they'll make decisions from there. We hope they pass the stack test. If they don't, then we don't know where it's going from there. The city has more power over its own ordinances than the TCQ. The TCQ is not in the business to shut plants down. They're about environmental issues, but fixing them. Your laws apply to that. The question is, does the city enforce its own laws? Fortunately, the documents I gave a year ago were not located, and I was asked for them again and got them to McKinsey in a Dropbox. All that research we did last year, she should have shared the Dropbox link with you so you would know what laws are being violated. I don't know if she did or not, but she's got all those files now that summarizes which ordinances are being violated, and you can have access to that as well. So, the mayor's duty under the law, or the mayor pro tem, is they're the budget officer, the health and safety officer, and emergency director. So that pretty much gets y'all updated on topic number 1. Any questions before I move to topic number 2? That was nice and easy and short. I was told to keep it brief and be gone. Right, Joe?
That's right.
Okay, topic number 2. We had the Zoom meeting in March after the second date of the hearing. And Greg Porter told us not to talk to anybody, which is why I've been quiet. I've been bridled. I really didn't care about writing about it anyway. I was too ill. But in our Zoom meeting, I said, I got an email. They want to know what laws are being violated. Can I respond now? He said yes, and he asked us to take it to the media, which I mentioned in the Zoom that wasn't exactly fair because we should go to council first and let them know what's going on. I'm not about y'all being made an example. To which he replied, they're going to be made an example because there's 2 House bills pending in the state legislature, according to Ted Lyons. Please write down these House bill numbers on your sheet on page 2. It's House Bill 1372 and House Bill and Senate Bill 1034. House Bill 1372 and House Bill 1034. Mr. Lyons said, when this is all said and done and we have our powwow, everybody gets happy, hopefully, and things are all fixed up, there will still be an appeal. No matter which side wins in the end, they're still losers to the city of Winnsboro. And that the city of Winnsboro and this plant and the litigants will be named an example of in the appeals process at the state and possibly federal level. There are bills pending that will remove people's rights to complain about environmental concerns on their property. Not just individual citizens' property, residences, but commercial properties and even cities. So let's say, for example, when I was executive director of the Wood County Industrial Commission, and Columbia Meat Processing Plant had a pig blood spill into the Trinity River. One of my high school chums was assistant DA in Dallas. I called them and I said, you know how football teams move overnight? They moved overnight. I called TCQ. They had no problems with them. The city of Dallas attorney said, why does that bother us? We don't care. It's not our problem. I said, well, Y'all own 74% of the surface water of Lake Fork, and it's a mile, and they've moved a mile and a half from your water, but there's no problem. So see, I'm about moving accurate information. If there's a problem, let's fix it. If we can't fix it, let's shut it down or move it, help them move somewhere else, is what I was telling them about that at the time. And that solved the problem. There was no problems. So those bills are pending in that session right now, and let me make sure I covered all the topics on this one. Will there be a third party? Yes. Okay, will the city report complaints when they start operating?
Report to who? I mean,
If citizens call when they start ramping back up, we've been told to call the TCEQ. Will the city have a complaints process when a phone call comes in to register concerns?
We do. They call in, they make complaints. It goes to code enforcement. Code
Right.
enforcement investigates if they're in violation.
Okay,
we
good.
cite them.
And the city enforces their own laws no matter what the TCEQ is doing,
Yes,
correct? Okay,
yes.
good. I'm glad we have an understanding on that. I think that finishes topic 2. Let's go to 3. Any comments on 2? Okay. Conflict of interest. I have a stack of papers, and I can get this to you guys.
Excuse me just a second.
Yes,
Do you have
ma'am.
a paper for 3?
Yes.
Mackenzie, could we have the papers for 3?
There you go. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Is this the last one, or do you have other? That's the last one, then. Thank you.
So, Ms. Willis, you're moving on to item 8.8
Yes,
in
sir.
relation to Local Government Code Title 5 subsection, or Subtitle C, Chapter 176.
Right. Oh, did I cover the abatement?
No.
Okay, let me finish the abatement. I apologize. That's my brain. Okay. I'm a tax abatement specialist when I work for the county, and I walk all the leaves through. And, make sure I have number 2. That's why I said that. Thank you for catching that, baby. Okay. You can abate taxes only on improvements and not the land. And the state comptroller says that, I have a reporting from them when I had a problem with the timing of it. And the council, if you skip down, so I answered C, it's an incentive package. You cannot abate school taxes, you can only abate improvements, you can't make it more than 10 years, and it's local chapter 313. It's a good tool as an incentive to get people to build. I wrote a dossier package on it that's 100 pages long. I didn't want to do that to you because you won't read it anyway, but I'll just summarize it in short by letting you listen to the reporting from the state comptroller's office.
But you understand, Texas Sigma didn't receive any tax abatement on this project.
There was some kind of abatement given to them
No.
in the minutes of record.
No abatement was given.
Okay, why is it in the minutes of
I
record?
don't know what's in the minutes. I know what was done, and I wasn't here when it was done, but I've reviewed the records. No tax abatement was given to Texas Sigma.
Okay, then that solves that problem.
So you can go check with the county tax office. They will tell you that none of that property's been abated.
That's good, so then I make a request that the minutes be amended, if that's true, because it was passed with the WEDC and the agenda in May of 2020. 21, where it says they are getting a tax abatement. It says, motion made to recommend to City Council the funding request by Sigma Partners as follows: tax abatements in accordance with EDC guidelines. That's on the May 21st, 21, and I ask that those minutes be amended.
That'll be up to the board.
Okay. They also received $12,500 from the EDC, and the city pushed the incentive policy through March 9th, 2021. And then after that, they got an incentive package. The incentive package was approved May 21st. And I have an affidavit that Ryan Hawkins signed that's on file with the county, where he completed construction of something in 2020. So I'd like those incentives, maybe a workshop where I can show all the paperwork on that and look at that incentive package of $12,500 that may not have been done, because the WEDC also didn't include advertising that $12,500. They didn't do 2 public readings, and these are problems that are procedural that Ryan couldn't have known. This is not his fault. This is a procedural problem with the city that needs to be looked at and fixed. So he can, that money, and also anything over $10,000 is not supposed to be remitted for 60 days. And I know everyone here that's been on EDC or city attorneys get the same training with economic development that's required. So I think the 2 public readings are still supposed to be enforced. So anyway, there's documents with the county that shows they did construction, and if they had, then they were not eligible for the incentive. I think that's everything on the tax abatements, and thank you for giving that information. Maybe the minutes can be corrected on that.
I do have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said that there was a tax abatement made 2021,
Yes, ma'am.
WDEC minutes, but did you check the council
The council
minutes after that
Yes.
meeting?
Motion made to recommend City Council the funding by request Sigma Partners. That was May 25th, and the one for the EDC was the month before they were from me.
Right, but my question is did it go to council?
Yes, it did. Yes,
Okay.
council approved the tax abatement and the $12,500, and it was approved by council.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the EDC. So thank you for clarifying that. Maybe we'll get those minutes adjusted. And agenda topic number 3, I think with the mayor recusing herself, most of that's been resolved because she did admit in the April 2022 council meeting that her son works there. Don't think we need to hear that because that record's on their live things. But also, state law requires if you get more than $2,500 as an employee, or a family member gets more than $2,500 as an employee, then they fill out a conflict of interest questionnaire, and the first question says, do they have a vendor relationship? And Sigma is established as a vendor of Winnsboro because they signed the Texas Department of Agriculture grant and the $12,500 money from the EDC. Should have had a performance agreement.
Her conflict is under section 171, not under 176 of the local government code.
Okay. Explain that for me.
But
I've seen how that works.
Her conflict, there are multiple conflicts that you can have. If you're a vendor, if she owned a business that was selling something to the city, then she would have a conflict under 176. It's a different kind of conflict. Her conflict is under 171 of the local government code. She has a person within the first degree of consanguinity who earns more than 10% of his income in the prior year from the affected industry, in this case, Texas Sigma. That's the conflict.
Okay, I agree. But it also says that if you have a vendor employee
She doesn't have a vendor relationship with them.
I want to go refer to the state law that says.
She's already stepped down.
I understand, but there's 2 reasons that she should have recused herself a long time ago. How many meetings did she leave?
But there've been no votes. In fact, all that's been on the agenda is just Texas Sigma update since she became mayor. It's been on every month,
Do you
and there's
think
been
the
no
city-
action taken.
Okay, the city has constantly told the litigants that we're not going to do anything until the TCQ makes a decision. They have made their decision. There was notices of enforcement. So when will the city do something?
We've done it. You understand, we're a general law city.
Right, I understand
You've
that.
cited the example of the city of Dallas and what they did.
That's fine. I was
There-
just,
there
no,
are-
it's about not a plant.
They're a home rule city.
I understand, but they got that control. Does this plant have a certificate of occupancy?
I assume it does.
Well, the city said they could not find one.
Well, the only way we're going to stop what they're doing at there is under Chapter 54. The only way we get
What
to
is that chapter about?
54 of the local government code, it's how we can enforce our ordinances. We're a general law city.
Right.
We have the enumerated powers granted to us by the legislature. A home rule city has all the powers of the state except those powers that the legislature has taken away. Much broader grant of authority. We're not a home rule city. So our enumerated powers, in order to enforce our ordinances, come to us under Chapter 54 of the local government code. We can fine people, and we can seek injunctions in district court, but only if they're violating our ordinance. And in this case, if we don't have evidence, when we had evidence that they were exceeding their emission levels, we cited them, and we fined them for it to prevent it. If they come back and do it again, we'll have to determine whether or not we're going to issue citations or whether or not we're going to sue them in district court. But those are our only two options.
That's reasonable. Can I ask a question? When you say you have evidence, do you consider the TCEQ investigators report evidence, the conclusions they have?
I assume it would have been because we wrote citations in. We would have had to have some evidence that there were violations.
Okay.
So we wrote citations. They have since pled no contest, paid the fines on those, and those cases have concluded. I don't have any active enforcement cases against the plant right now.
Well, let's hope we don't. Let's hope they get the problem fixed, and if not, I think the citizens just want to be reassured that the health of Winnsboro is looked after under this current city
And
laws.
I've made the statement in this meeting before, and I'll make it again. When we have active cases, I'll prosecute them.
Sounds good. Okay. I think we've done adequate disclosure and fairness to both sides. I appreciate the time. Thank you very much, City Council.
Thank you, Jenna.
Thank you, Ms. Willis. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on these items, 8.6, 8.7, 8.8, or 8.9?
Yes.
Yeah, you just come up, state your name and address for the record.
Stephen Ryan Hawkins, 400 All-Star Drive, Winnsboro, Texas. Thank you for your opportunity to speak tonight. It's a privilege to be here before you, council. And before I get into anything else that I want to state, I'd like to inform you, if you weren't aware, Casey is a U.S. veteran, and we're very proud of his service, and we're very proud of him as an employee of Texas. Before I get into the substance of what I want to speak about, you know that we have active litigation going on. That's going to prevent me from being able to answer questions. It's going to be able to prevent me from being able to inform you of everything that we might like to talk about this evening. I'm president of TSB. A lot of you don't know me, so I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Northeast Texas. I'm a graduate of Texas A&M University Commerce. I lived in Red River County most of my life. I married my wife, Annie. She's in attendance in the gallery tonight. She's from Winnsboro. I like to joke that the day that I married Annie, they flew the flags at half staff in Winnsboro because I took the debutante sweetheart out of town. We were married at the First Baptist Church here in Winnsboro. We have 3 children. Holden is 11, Hutton is just turned 8, and Hattie is 2. We just enjoyed a nice Easter Sunday here in Winnsboro. Annie's parents are from Winnsboro. Kids hunted eggs here. Literally, as the crow flies, a mile away from the plant is where her family lives. We actually lived here on Walnut Street the first years of our marriage, right down from the Walnut Street Baptist Church. So I have a pretty significant history here. Professionally, I'm the Chief Operating Officer of an EPC company, which stands for Engineering, Procurement, and Construction. We design and build plants all over the United States, a lot like the plant here in Winnsboro. But we do it for multiple different industries, food, power generation, pulp and paper, lots of different industries. How did we get involved? In 2014, I was approached by a large egg-laying facility to construct a facility in our hometown of Pagoda, Texas. It's a cage-free facility, and we built that farm. It houses about 1.6, 1.7 million birds. There's 7 houses, two pullet houses on site. During the process of the construction of that facility, they approached me about handling the manure off of that facility. We were very excited. It was an extraordinary opportunity, especially dealing with that much material, that much feedstock. I immediately hired 5 people and began processing that material. We land applicated it on farms and ranches throughout Northeast Texas. I realized through my engineering background there was a better, more sustainable process for the feedstock. I spent countless hours seeking information, developing contacts, trying to figure out what's the best way to utilize this feedstock. Through some good fortune and a hell of a lot of effort, I was able to find some partners that understood the business and understood my concept. That concept became Texas Sigma Partners. It also became the granulated organic fertilizer that we now produce. Let me talk to you about the plant. In February of 2020, we purchased our plant. We identified a plant located in Colorado that was repurposed for the production that we needed. Right around this time, you'll recall, it became a very uncertain time for the world. COVID had just entered the picture. Despite the uncertainty, we had made an agreement to build that plant right here in Winnsboro. So we did just that. In 60 days, we had to remove 59 truckloads. And we got it done. Our new state-of-the-art technology had made it to Winnsboro. We looked at several different locations in Northeast Texas that we felt like made sense. After all, it wasn't just a business, it's an investment that we were making into a community and a partnership. Ultimately, we decided that Winnsboro was the right location, the right place at the right time. It was a place that I knew well, and I thought it would be exciting to come home, close to home, to showcase for my family the fruits of my labor. You got to understand, in the company that I'm COO in, that's all over the United States. It's very random. It'd be very uncommon for any of my family to get to see any of the work that we actually do. So it was a good opportunity to basically show them what we do on a daily basis. At Texas Sigma Partners, we manufacture granular organic fertilizer that can be used to grow almost everything. It's organic farm-to-table farms in East Texas. It's a very large produce farm producing organic carrots, strawberries, lettuce in the Imperial Valley in California, organic sugarcane farms in Florida. You might find our products in a bag of organic fertilizer at your local store, not unlike the Tractor Supply here in Winnsboro. It's just a pretty neat thing to know that a product is manufactured, bagged here in Winnsboro, and makes it back to your local Tractor Supply right here. All the raw material we use to make this product is naturally sourced and organically certified. Council, would it surprise you that if I told you that recently, in the last 2 months, our plant has been inspected by one of our largest customers, where they sent a third-party inspection company to review our site. They reviewed it for everything from safety, health, and quality control. We scored a 99.2 grade on that inspection. A 9-year better was considered exemplary. We worked very hard and invested a lot of money and time to achieve this, so we were very excited about this. I'm here today to address your concerns, and most of you know by now, we have purchased and installed and verified the performance of regenerative thermal oxidizer, as well as the supporting process equipment that aids in the odor. We spent over $1.3 million on the equipment to address your concerns. I'm here to tell you tonight it works. Additionally, we've constructed various walls to enclose our raw materials, and I can assure you going forward, no raw materials will be stored outside. We've implemented a full-time position that focuses solely on environmental health and safety. This person focuses on ensuring compliance with all regulatory bodies, TCEQ, OSHA, and most importantly, the City of Winnsboro. Our staff conducts odor patrol twice daily. They do this from 9 different positions around the plant. The patrols are documented with various points that include weather, wind direction, barometric pressure, and an odor source review where they provide a scale of intensity of the odor from 0 to 10. I've instructed our odor patrol team that I want to know if they smell a skunk. I want them to verify that it was a skunk, and I want them to know, I want to know where that skunk was located. We take it that serious. Furthermore, another concern that you might have is our stormwater. Our stormwater permit is active. It is monitored, samples are taken, and being sent to a third party for verification. Those verifications that come back, they are positive. The judge has given us permission to start our plant back up. This is so we can run critical air quality tests to ensure that our plant is working correctly and that we have corrected the problems we had early on. Our business has contributed job opportunities and have provided a significant tax contribution this past year to the city of Winnsboro. We have a slide presentation. Eugene's probably back there saying, slow down, slow down. It's my highest and best use. Yeah.
We're going to watch a movie instead.
Yeah, I can promise you that's a lot more fun. I'll keep going. Let's continue. We employed an average of 31 jobs and almost $250,000 in taxes to the community. One of the most exciting things for me is we've hired recent college graduates and allowed them to come back home to Winnsboro. That's a very unique thing, especially in a rural community. Generally, kids from a rural community have to go to the city to work, and we have provided an opportunity for Winnsboro graduates to go to college and come back and work here in town. Which made a lot of moms happy. We've done this while being shut down for over 60% of the last calendar year. We've continued to keep staff employed and have invested a lot of money to make our plant better and to address your community's concerns. Each month we are not producing cost us money. Every day we lose business. Every day we lose orders of our products. Yet every day we're proud to be here. We are Winnsboro. Our business will be significant. We're on the cusp of something truly special. And I hope that Winnsboro will join us in this exciting opportunity. I may not live in Winnsboro today, but I am Winnsboro. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on items 8.6, 8.7, 8.8, or 8.9? Mr. McElroy, do you have anything you want to add?
I have nothing to add. I have nothing to add.
Okay.
I do.
Okay, come forward, you have to come to the podium.
Becky Embry, 3749 County Road 2426, Conroe, our vintage and vines. I just want to say that people kind of have short memories here tonight, but I want to go back to what John told us, which we weren't here, but she said when Mr. Hawkins first presented it, he brought a little bitty bottle in, and he told you city council members that there would be no smell. Is that correct?
That is correct, and there is no smell in the finished product.
In the finished, well, we're not really concerned about the finished. And also, I want to say that I went over there 4 times. And one of the last times I had vintage and vines, I said, look, all these school children coming. And they're only 4 and 5 years old. This is their little school trip to the pumpkin patch, you know. It was scheduled a long time ago. Could y'all please take a late start, you know, to let's have these little children enjoy their pumpkin patch. That did not happen. And I'm sorry, that's not right. It shouldn't be right by anybody's standards. And so they blew that out on them, and they've blown it out on us. And you know, I know you all know what we've experienced. Some of you don't, some of you are new. But there's a lot more coming out of there than what they want to let up. And so I just couldn't sit back there and not at least say these few things, you know, that people may have forgotten. We're the ones sitting out there every day breathing it. And I'm sorry, but it's just not right to put that out there on people.
Thank you, Ms. Embry. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on these items? Yes, ma'am.
In the transcript from the district court hearing, the environmental expert said the plant will never be emissions and odor free under sworn testimony. I'll give that to you. I think I highlighted that when I gave that to you, Randy. Second thing, Mr. Hawkins states he owns it, and under the state law of Texas, I did some research, and a managing director is an owner, and after initially filed, he changed his position, and he is Texas Sigma Partners, LLC, but the managing directors include Sigma AgriScience and Hospital Services. Sigma AgriScience president is Alan Warren, who was on the TDA application with this council. And Sigma AgriScience is a big company. As a matter of fact, they've got to move product too, and they're down in Bowling, Texas. So the owners are not just local, they're down in the Houston area, and they do business all over the world. As a matter of fact, there's import-export documents showing 86 tons of 2 shipments of ammonium nitrate from South Korea to one of their affiliates for their company. So this is not just a homegrown company. This is a national, worldwide company. And the documents can substantiate that, and I can get those to you as well. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else come forward, we'll move back up into the agenda, and I will turn the meeting back over to our mayor.
Okay, thank you for that, Randy. Okay, so I guess we're going to move back up to the top. So first we have got, and also council has a meeting later, so he will be leaving. So just to let y'all know. So
Let me get up and leave.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to 4.1, the National Day of Prayer. This is a proclamation, and I would like to read it now. First, I'd like a pen. So I'll read the proclamation now if y'all bear with me here. Whereas prayer is deeply rooted in our American heritage, has guided our national leaders, and played a vital role in the life and history of the United States. And whereas from the earliest days of our republic, Americans have asked God to hear their prayers in times of crisis and in times of bounty. And whereas in 1952, the United States Congress passed a law providing for the designation of the first Thursday of May as National Day of Prayer, on which the people of the United States should turn to God in prayer and meditation at churches, in groups, and as individuals. And whereas Congress, by Public Law 100-307, has called on the president to issue each year a proclamation designating the first Thursday in May as National Day of Prayer. And whereas the citizens of this great city we call home gather together in unity for prayer each year in front of City Hall on National Prayer Day. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Andrea Newsom, Mayor of the City of Winnsboro, Texas, do hereby proclaim May 4th, 2023 as Winnsboro's National Day of Prayer, and call upon the people of Winnsboro, Texas to join their fellow citizens to come together in their homes, places of work, places of worship, to pray for the unity of hearts of all mankind, and continue to pray for our city, our state, and our nation. Proclaim this 11th day of April, 2023. I think we can all appreciate this National Day of Prayer. So we're just going to move back into the meeting, if we can, at the top. Staff reports. Do we have anything on staff reports? Anybody? No? Okay, so public comments. Do we have anyone at this time? The public comments section of the meeting, we hear from those who have signed in prior to the meeting was called to order. So, Angie, do we have anyone for public comments? Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. Brenda Morey? Sorry, I killed your name. I'm sorry. And I should know this lady very well, so I'm sorry, Brenda. If you could just state your name and address, please.
Yes, hi, I'm Brenda Morey. I live at 304 Wanda Drive. I'm just here to mention to the council that in a little less than a year, there will be a total solar eclipse in Winnsboro.
Oh.
And people from all over the world comes to see these total solar eclipses. So we just need to get together and plan some items here where the city can make some money for this. There's going to be visitors from all over the world following this eclipse. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have Stephen Boardman. Please come and state your name and address, please.
Hello, I'm Stephen Warming, 706 Melissa Lane. Just wanted to introduce myself and announce that I'm running for City Council.
Oh, okay.
In regards to Sigma, I must say, as just a Winnsboro citizen, I managed to score a tour of the facility, and it's quite impressive. If you haven't seen it, you should look at it.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Next we have Denise Scott.
Yes.
Okay.
You did it.
You spell it quite different, so.
I do. Someday I'll tell you to jump behind it.
Okay. If you could just state your name and address,
I'm
please.
Denise Scott. I live at 767 County Road 4592. By night and by day, I am Backstage Coffee Lounge owner on the Bowery.
Oh, okay.
And so I am coming to you today for your consideration. I am asking to see if we could put a couple of metal tables with 4 chairs and umbrellas in front of our coffee shop. As one of the, as far as I know, the only business on the Bowery right now, there's no access to a street. So we have to be creative to bring in people to come into our shop, but also we are very interested in the Bowery and the potential of how awesome it is and the things that we can do with the Bowery. And so we were wanting to have a conversation about being able to use some of the streets to put an umbrella and chairs for people to sit. And I know there's benches and trees there already, but they're small and give little shade. And I know there's going to be some chaos going on with some lines going and this and that and the other. So I know there's a lot of things to consider with that. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention
Thank
Denise,
you.
are you
Correct.
talking about, when you say in front of, you mean on the sidewalk or
No.
down the curb on the street?
sidewalk, there's very little room, and also it's not level, and so I am actually speaking of in the street. And so I know that there is another restaurant that has an area that they use, but I also I think it would be nice to have just more seating with a table for people to sit. So we did think about that for on the sidewalk, but because of the space and the unlevel, we felt that it was not going to be as safe as it would be on the flatter street.
So you're talking about the area facing Main Street, or
Madam
are you
Mayor?
talking about?
Madam Mayor, this public comment is turning into a discussion. It's not on the
Oh,
agenda.
you're right.
Okay.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
No, that's
Then
not
I
right,
would, can we refer her to staff?
You'll need to talk to Mackenzie, and she'll get you pointed in the right direction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and the next person, Mr. Burns? Mrs. Burns? Is it Diana?
Diane.
I'm sorry, I should know your name also. I apologize.
Diane Burns, 302 Richardson Street, the owner of Promised Land Bakery. First of all, it's been exciting, it's been a huge success. This started with you guys a couple of years ago, so it's been a great joy to meet the people of Winnsboro. And it is a gathering place for Winnsboro, plus people from all over. I have been amazed at the draw that Winnsboro has. Hopefully the bakery has added to the ability to bring people here, and then they'll go from my store onto Main Street or the restaurants or all the other things that benefit the city of Winnsboro. Anyway, I wanted to bring a couple of concerns. I have a bird's eye view of the traffic and parking issues being at Walnut and Broadway. The 3 lots that surround me, they're sand, and they are decaying. They are degrading over time. The holes are bigger and deeper and broader and increasing in number, and it's only going to get worse. And my concern is that people will park anywhere. I've learned that. It doesn't matter what sign you put up. They will park anywhere. And I'm unable to make improvements to my property because the sand is pouring down through, especially the west side of the property, and I can't stop it. Along the back of my building, if I put a fence up, I've already put up 80 feet of pipe to protect parts of it, but along the back, if I put up more pipe, I can't park there. But if I don't put up pipe, other people just pull in alongside, and there's an alley. The city has an alley, but you can't see it. Parking matters. I really think that it would not only benefit the people of Winnsboro, but our visitors, because they're parking there to go to La Conchitas. They're walking across that parking lot, and if they were to fall, twist an ankle, break a leg, it's a possibility that they could have some liability there, and it's just getting worse. So anyway, I think it would be lovely to provide the people of Winnsboro a well-lit, curved, well-defined parking area, signs that say this way to Main Street, or a sign at Main Street, more parking this way, things like that. Also, too, I just want you to know the traffic along Broadway and Walnut is constant, and now more and more people are shuffling across Broadway of all ages. And as we watch them coming and going Friday and Saturday, we're just kind of going,
Madam Mayor.
I know.
Madam Mayor, 3 minutes are up.
Okay,
Would you like to
okay, so
extend?
crosswalk, lights, I don't know. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
On a couple of those items, Madam Mayor, the factual statement, we have explored crosswalks. And unfortunately, since that is a state highway, the city can't install the crosswalks, and the state won't. They've already told us they won't. How good is that? But Mackenzie, could we have maintenance look at that lot, since that's our lot?
Okay.
part of the bond issue, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was
To
part of the
pave
bond
and
that was turned
like
down.
that lot, and it was
Yep.
voted down.
Just want you to know.
Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to 7.1, the minutes. Did everybody have a chance to review these prior to the meeting, or is there any questions?
Mayor, I did submit an email to our city secretary that there was an error on 8.7 in the minutes, and asked, it stated that there was a motion made and seconded, and motion passed. There was not. This item was referred to actually this meeting, and our city secretary has responded and will correct the minutes. Therefore, I move for approval of the minutes as corrected.
Second.
Okay, all in approval?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I
Okay,
just
motion-
wanted to say one thing, you zipped past the discussion.
I'm sorry.
part. I did make a motion, and that did, actually, it's correct in the minutes.
But the motion, wasn't it, the sentence right above it says this item will be presented again to council at the April meeting.
Because it
And,
has to go
and
through
it's on the
two-
agenda for tonight.
We asked Mackenzie about that, it has to go through two,
Has to go through 2 readings.
yeah.
Oh,
So it's actually
This is
correct
an,
the way
this
it's
is an
presented.
this is an EDC item that's over
Yes, sir.
$10,000. It does require 2 public meetings, but it does have to be 2 readings before this body.
okay. Well, I apologize. I stand corrected on correcting the minutes. Therefore, I move approval of minutes as stated.
I'll second that.
All in approval?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So, I believe I had a note to table the Beta Sigma Phi because no one could make it.
Mayor, since this request has now been before us twice with no one coming forward to represent this, I think the staff needs to ensure someone will be here before it comes back on our agenda.
Mackenzie, could you just make note of that, please? Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, so if we can move to 8.2, the WEDC incentive application approval. Did everyone had a chance? I think this also has come, maybe it's because I was in the EDC. I get them mixed up, I'm sorry.
This is just the second reading for that.
Okay.
So does it require an action?
Does it require action? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then again, I'm going to move that we approve the, let's see, WDC incentive application by Coyote Smoke in the amount of $15,000 as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, all in approval?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? No, motion carries. Okay, so 8.3. This one is consider ordinance number 1062-2023, amending Chapter 4 of the Code of Ordinance related to peddlers, solicitors, and entrant vendors. We can open for discussion. Everybody have a chance to read it?
Mackenzie, from what I see here, we're just correcting some language, making it a little bit more clear as to the requirements.
Actually, what we're really doing is making sure that everybody, whether we're going to charge them a fee or not, if they're going to go door-to-door soliciting in town, before they do that, before they go knock on the people's doors here in the city of Winnsboro, that they've come in and filled out a form so we know who they are.
Okay.
Just as a safety feature, because this issue has come up in some other small towns where people have gone in under the guise of being an itinerant vendor and knocked on doors and committed criminal acts, some of them pretty bad.
Okay. And we add the language here, it is unlawful for any peddler, solicitor, itinerant vendor, or other person or group of persons to attempt to solicit, canvass, or otherwise engage in business from house to house, business to business upon public property without first obtaining the chief of police. So this would, this includes political groups, door-to-door vendors, anybody like that, but it does not change any of the requirements on autumn trails, because they're separate, correct?
They permit an event, yes, sir.
Okay.
Is that right, Angie?
But it does include an individual that is going to business to business and selling lunch, for instance, that's been made by that person, right?
That would be considered itinerant, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the permit is required and it's valid for 6 months. So then does the person have to come back after the 6 months in order to get another permit?
Yes, ma'am.
Are they granted then a second permit? Most cases?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
As long as there's not been any problems or complaints.
Okay. And that's enforced by our police department, right?
Now, Andy, is your department doing any type of preliminary background check on these people? Okay.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I make the motion that we approve ordinance 1062-2023, amending Chapter 4 of the Code of Ordinances related to peddlers, solicitors, and itinerant vendors.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in approval?
Aye.
Aye.
Any against? No, motion carries. Now let's move on to 8.4. Consider resolution number 2023-13, authorizing participation in opioid, okay, I can't say the word, guys, to settlement. Did we also have a chance to review this prior to the meeting tonight? Any questions, concerns, discussion?
I have a couple of questions. Chief, I guess my question would go to you. Who in the city can administer Narcan? I would assume the police department, the EMTs. Are there any teachers or, for instance, the school nurse or anybody like that?
I'm not sure if they've had the training for it. We've not actually had the training for it. That's what we've used some of this money for. We've, the whole Texas is run over the fentanyl, and that counteracts that overdose of fentanyl. There's it's a nasal spray, is what it is. I checked price on it today, it's like $185 for 2 doses.
Well, I saw on a television news program where they're going to actually be offering it to anybody that can buy it and, have it available. I would hope that a person that would purchase it would get some kind of training to.
Hopefully we can get the training and then we can help train the public.
That would be good. I also sat next to the school nurse, and she has not yet been trained on it, but she hopes to be trained on it and have it available.
We're a little behind on that because it's, but it's hitting us. I mean, we've had some in the area already too. Not an overdose, but we've recovered some fentanyl.
Okay, well, hopefully we as a city chief and police can encourage our school administrators and so forth to get some training on that too.
I'll work with the chief guy and make sure we get, if we get approved for this, we'll work with them.
The problem's becoming more and more prevalent, so.
It is. It's very,
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Madam Mayor, just as a clarification, the agenda item says resolution 2023-13. The resolution is actually 2023-12.
Okay. Anything further?
Madam Mayor, I make the motion that we approve resolution 2023-12, authorizing participation in the opioid settlement.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in approval?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, motion carries. Okay, so trying to make sure which ones we've done and haven't done here. So 8.5, discussion regarding the city sales tax allocation.
This is an item that I had asked Mackenzie to put on the agenda tonight. I had hoped we would have time with the city attorney still here to be present for this, and so guess I'd rather kick the can down the road maybe to next month, and hopefully we can have him present for this.
Okay. I'm sorry, Corey, we could have added it at the beginning. I wasn't aware that you needed the... Okay, so we'll table this till next month. If we can make note on that, please.
We need Jim back next month.
Yes.
Okay. The additional agenda items have already been covered. So if there's nothing further, the next regular city council meeting will be held Tuesday, May 9th at 5:30 p.m. Anyone who wishes to put business to the council at that meeting must submit a completed request to be placed on the agenda to City Hall by 12 p.m. on Monday, 8 days prior for the meeting to be approved. Okay? I appreciate everybody coming today, and this meeting is now adjourned at 6:37 p.m. It's like, where's my gavel?